Alright, boys. So today I'm taking this 8 Values political compass test. It's gonna be so fun. I'm gonna put tons of commentary on everything. So let's click here, start. You'll be okay. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Oppression by corporations is more than a concern. Okay, so it's more of a concern than oppression by governments. So I'm gonna have to strongly agree with this, mainly because governments have some amount of accountability. You can vote you can vote people into government to some extent, and corporations in the past have done a ton more harm than government. So I'm gonna have to strongly agree with that one. It is necessary for the government to intervene in the economy to protect customers. Yes, otherwise people would be working slave labor. Nobody would get anything done. Yes. The freer the markets, the freer the people. No, actually, the freer the markets, the more captive the people. If the markets are free, there's no regulation, then people are going to get ripped off. People are going to get scammed. It's not a good situation. So strongly disagree there. Better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. No, actually, if you ensure welfare for all citizens, you can see this with many countries. If you have a larger welfare state, citizens are more productive, they're more educated, they earn more, and you earn more money, which is going to expand the budget. So I'm going to have to strongly disagree with this. Publicly funded research is more beneficial to the people than leaving it to the market. Yes. Well, I'm gonna have to agree with this one because in some instances, like for medical stuff, it's really important to have a private sector or at least some degree of private sector because that's what drives innovation. Like if there were unions over there, it would probably slow down progress to some extent. But on the other hand, you need some research to be publicly funded. That way, we're not all relying on billionaires. So I'll have to agree with that one. Tariffs on international trade are important to encourage local production. I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with this one. Local production is very much encouraged, regardless of whether or not tariffs occur. There are other ways to regulate goods than tariffs. Like you can put more regulations on the market outside of tariffs, so that China isn't selling us a bunch of trash. So I have to disagree with that one. From each according to his ability to each according to his needs. This is very oversimplified. I feel like this is the ideal standard. In the situation, it's not going to be implemented. But yeah, I'd agree with the principle of this, yes. It would be better if social programs were abolished in favor of private charity. No, 100% not. Charity is very often corrupt. They often misappropriate funds. Also, people don't donate enough to charity to fund them. So, charity is good as a concept, but in practicality, social programs are much more important. So, I'm going to have to strongly disagree with this one. Taxes should be increased on the rich to provide for the poor. Yes, it benefits everybody except for the rich to put more taxes on them. If poor people get more social welfare programs, they work better, they work more productively. It helps everybody. The rich only don't want that because they don't want to be taxed. There's no reason why we should still be simping for billionaires in 2021. Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth. Well, if we're talking about legitimate, like, should it be legitimate, or if it already is legitimate? I mean, now it is legitimate. If my parent dies, I'm gonna earn their money. Whereas should it be a legitimate form of wealth? I feel like it should to some extent, but it should be definitely taxed a ton. So, like a massively increased tax. So I'm gonna have to disagree with this one. Basic utilities like roads and electricity should be publicly owned. To some degree, yes. I feel like the private sector is important in this because it's going to help things get things done as long as we pay them. Whereas they're also going to be like laybacks and stuff that aren't beneficial to putting it off to the private sector because taxes are what funds these, and there's not going to be the money otherwise. So I'm going to have to strongly disagree with this one. I mean, no, strongly agree. Oops. Government intervention is a threat to the economy. No, not in 2021. Maybe if we're talking about 20 like 2500, maybe, but right now it's 2021. Not at all. No. Those with the greater ability to pay should receive better health care. I'm not like hard communist. Everybody gets the same. I feel like with an ability to pay, they should receive better healthcare, but it shouldn't be superior to everyone else. Before this is instituted, we should make sure everyone has good quality healthcare first. So I'm going to have to agree with this, but at the same time, there are things that need to be done first. Quality education is the right of all people. Yes, I mean, there's not even no argument here. Strongly agree. And the means of production should belong to the workers who use them. Yes, there is no reason why billionaires and millionaires should own the labor of everybody else, create unions, work together. That is how people are going to earn more. That's how people are going to be more rich. That's how society is going to benefit. Yeah. The United Nations should, no, why? Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. I wouldn't say often. I'd say sometimes, like World War One, World War Two. But actually, even World War One, World War Two, it's not like we were being threatened really. I mean, World War Two, Pearl Harbor, and all that. So I'd say disagree because it happens sometimes, but it's definitely not often. I support regional unions such as the European Union. I mean, yeah, sure. There's no reason why not to. I mean, yeah. I support to maintain our national sovereignty. No, there is no reason why America is superior to other countries. There's no reason why we should try to remain or stay above other countries. We should let in more immigrants. We should help people who we can. No reason. So strongly disagree. A united world government would be beneficial to mankind. Yet again, this is something that's not applicable in 2021. We're not just going to have a united world government now, but I feel like yes, as a principle, a united world government will be beneficial to mankind in the future. Yeah, so I would have to strongly agree with this one. It's not going to be it's not going to be able to be implemented now. We can't have like some globalist society now. Is it more important to retain peaceful relations than to further our strength? Yes, 100%. America's not as powerful as it was 100 years ago. Where our industrial power is dwindling, our we're spending a ton on military. There's no reason to do this. Let's work together, decrease our military, fund climate change research, all that. No need to have an incredibly big military to bully other people. Wars do not need to be justified to other countries. I mean, they don't need to, but they should. Like, you shouldn't just. I feel like there should be some consensus among countries before you go invade somebody. So I'm gonna have to disagree now. Military spending is a waste of money. Not in every instance. Like, we can't just abolish the military, no. But the majority, yes. International aid, no, strongly disagree. International aid benefits other countries, benefits us, and increases trade and all that. International aid, in some instances, actually, I'm gonna have to not strongly disagree, but just disagree because international aid, like for example, to Israel, that's not helping anybody. We just want a military base there. So yeah, in general, though, it's a positive. My nation is great. America is trash. It is garbage, dumpster fire. Research should be sorry about that. Research should be conducted on an international scale. I mean, yeah, there's no reason to nationalize research. Like, why? I mean, we don't want to privatize like research. That seems kind of selfish and stupid. I'm gonna have to strongly agree with this one. Government should be accountable to the international community. I feel like this is a slippery slope towards globalism. I mean, yet again, in the future, yes, but current world now, I feel like that would create a lot of problems. I feel like government should be responsible to some degree. Like Trump or Biden can't just do something completely stupid and that every other country agrees with. But at the same time, I feel like we shouldn't be taking that much input into what our other nations are doing. That's not necessarily a good idea. So I have to agree with this. Even when protesting an authoritarian, false. The majority of change comes through violence, at least violence to some degree. And protesting an authoritarian government, you're not going to be able to do that without violence. So I'm going to have to strongly disagree with this one. My religious values should be spread as much as possible. Well, I mean, no. I have to say neutral because, I mean, religion is pretty cringe in general, and just spreading it doesn't seem like a good idea. Our nation's values should be spread. America, our what we say our values are. If I agreed with the values, I would say yes, but I don't think those are actually the values our country is built on. So I'm gonna have to say disagree. It's very important to maintain law and order. It's not very important. I mean, you could live in a lawless society and still have order, or you could live in a lawless, orderless society and still have like a good society. So I'm gonna say, I mean, but although in the current world right now, yes, it's very important to maintain law and order. Since this is phrased in the present, I have to say agree. The general populace makes poor decisions. Oh, that's a hard one. General populace makes poor decisions. Hmm. In general, I mean, the thing is, there are different things because lobbying doesn't happen to everyday citizens, but citizens are also more susceptible to like advertisements and stuff. So, I'm gonna have to say unsure on this one because it's very neutral. Physician-assisted suicide should be legal. Okay, this is a big one. I would say disagree. I mean, I feel like it should be a freedom, kind of to some extent, but at the same time, everybody who does that regrets it later. Or I mean, they obviously can't. But everybody who would have regrets it later, and the vast majority of people who don't are glad they didn't in the future. So I would have to say disagree. The sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us from acts of terrorism. Terrorism doesn't happen that often. It just doesn't. Terrorist attacks do not occur that often. So sacrificing civil liberties. I mean, some civil liberties, some, but very, very few and limited. So I'm gonna have to say disagree with this. And I think I'm gonna start from here tomorrow and do part 2 of this. So bye, and thank you for watching, and make sure to tune in tomorrow.